Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of a clean and decluttered bedroom. Hey guys, welcome to the Maximized Mom. This is the place where I help overwhelmed moms declutter their homes so they can escape survival mode and start feeling like themselves again. Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of a clean and decluttered bedroom. You see, having a bedroom that is full of clutter actually increases stress, and it increases a sense of catching up when you wake up. So you can imagine how this is not a good thing when it comes to your bedroom, which is the place where you're supposed to be resting. So here are my top 10 tips for creating a bedroom where you feel relaxed, rested, and amazing. And I might throw in one bonus tip just for fun. Tip number 1, the first thing that you want to do when decluttering your bedroom is decide what kind of energy you want in the room. And when I say that, I mean, what kind of vibe do you want? Do you want a relaxed room? Do you want a romantic room? Do you want a cool room? Are you someone who wants to set up gaming equipment? You just need to decide what is the energy that I want to have in my room, and that is going to be the first step to creating almost like a lens or a filter through which you declutter and decide what to keep and what not to keep. So take a moment and just decide, what do I want my bedroom to actually say? And then go from there. Now, moving into some more practical tips. Tip number 2 is to keep a giveaway basket in your closet. This gives you the opportunity to easily put giveaway in the basket rather than hanging it back up and telling yourself that it needs to go to giveaway at some point. Tip number 3, very similarly to a giveaway basket, I also like to keep a clean clothes basket in my closet. Now, the reason for this is because if you're anything like me, you often have items that are clean or clean enough that you don't necessarily have the time to hang back up or fold and put away, but you don't necessarily want them to just become a pile on the floor. So keep a clean basket in your closet, and this gives you the opportunity to keep your clean clothes in a organized and put away state without having to actually be completely put away. Tip number 4, we are talking about kind of how to start the process of decluttering your clothes here. Now, I recommend picking your favorite items to start and organizing them together in your closet. Now, what this does is this gives you a baseline for what you actually enjoy wearing, rather than all the clothes in your closet that you tell yourself you should like or should wear, or you'll wear that when. When you actually start with these clothes, then you just take some time and notice, what am I actually using outside of these favorite items? Once you have more of a realistic baseline for what you actually wear, this gives you the opportunity to then go into the rest of your clothes and start the decluttering process. Because if you haven't reached for it up to this point, you may not actually wear it, even if you've told yourself that you do or you will. Tip number 5, and this is something that I implemented in my life when I kind of started this journey of decluttering my clothes specifically, but my bedroom as a whole. Basically, this is a rule that says if I go to put something back after pulling it out, I put it in the giveaway immediately. Now, this looks like if you take a shirt off of the rack and you look at it and just in that split second, you're like, nah, I don't really like this, and you go to put it back. Instead of doing that, go ahead and throw it in that giveaway pile. You see, what happens is we may really not like something, but we can convince ourselves that we like it in just a few split seconds that it takes to take it off and put it back. And so implement this rule that if you take something off of the hanger or off of the rack and you go to put it back for some reason, just throw it in the giveaway, because chances are you aren't really going to wear it and you just keep convincing yourself that you will. Now, real quick before we finish these tips, if you are a mom who feels overwhelmed in her home, like you are stuck in survival mode, then I would love to encourage you to take my completely free 5-day challenge. In this challenge, I walk you through setting up what I call the core 4, which is the system that you need in your home to overcome the clutter for good. If this sounds interesting, the link is in the description, but let's get back into it. Tip number 6, moving away from our clothes. Simplify making your bed. Now, we all know that having a made bed is something that is really conducive to a clean space, peace of mind, and it just makes us feel good. However, for a lot of us, making our bed can kind of be an obnoxious process, so we don't do it. At least for me, I know I always hated making the bed, and I will not do it unless it's a very simple process. So declutter and get rid of any excess pillows that you don't need, or clumsy type sheets or anything like that. Make the process as simple as possible, and then you're probably going to do it. Tip number 7, while we're talking about your bed, clear your nightstands of any items that you do not actively use. Now, what happens is we tend to pile things up by our bed, whether that's our keys, wallet, water bottles, drinks, and it just becomes a place to catch clutter. However, our bedroom is supposed to be a place where we can rest and recharge. And so clutter on our nightstand is just actively causing us stress and frustration right before the time that we're supposed to be getting rest. So remove items from your nightstand that are not actively used on a daily basis. And tip number 8, even furthering that thought, take note of anything that's distracting you from sleep. Maybe it's moving your phone cord away from your bed so you're not on your phone right before bed. Or maybe there is something in your room that constantly wakes you up or keeps you awake. Part of the decluttering process is removing things that are keeping you from the life that you want to live. And if something is keeping you from getting good, restful sleep, then really just think about, how can I minimize this and remove this from my environment? All right, tip number 9, let's talk about storage, because this is a big question that I get is, how do I store my stuff? And now I'm gonna give you a little tough love and probably tell you an answer that you do not wanna hear. My take on storage is that for most things, if you have to store it, it probably means that you don't actively use it. Now, this is obviously, there are exceptions to this rule, like kids' winter clothes or clothes for the future, or things that you actually need to store that you're going to need later. However, this takes being honest with yourself, because a lot of us, rather than getting rid of things, we think that if we can organize it and put it in bins and make it organized, that we can somehow get out of not getting rid of it. However, I want to encourage you that if there are things in bins in your home, I would encourage you that you may not actually need it, and it might actually feel really great to remove those things from your space completely. So view your storage containers as a potential red flag that you may just need to declutter it and get rid of it completely. All right, tip number 10, identify where things tend to get dumped in your bedroom. Now, I know for me, I was a chronic dumper. I would just get home, my clean clothes would get put somewhere, my dirty clothes would get thrown somewhere, and I would find myself just dumping things everywhere. What's really important is just identifying where your dump zones are and just figure out how to create processes in a way that you'll actually stick with them. If you're somebody who just kind of dumps things in your bedroom at the end of a long day, the chances of you completely turning around and putting everything in organized bins is probably pretty slim. So create a system that leans into that tendency that already exists. I'm a big fan of open storage where I can just throw things, because that is my natural tendency. And it's also a great way for me to teach my kids how to put things away, because they don't have to fuss with tricky storage containers. So identify where the dump zones are and figure out how you can systemize that process. Maybe it's just a basket that goes there to catch all that stuff that you can then put away later. Don't overcomplicate it. Just think through how you can lean into what you're already doing in order to declutter and get a little bit of that mess out of the room. All right, and bonus tip number 11 is, in order to have a bedroom that truly brings you peace and calm and rest, is to remove decorations and decor that doesn't actually make you happy. I know for me, when I first started decorating my spaces, I kind of just used whatever I had because I thought that I just needed to decorate. However, if you don't actually like something and it doesn't truly spark some joy, as Marie Kondo would say, just get rid of it. I'm a big believer that sometimes an empty wall is more beautiful than a piece of artwork. So if you don't have something to decorate with, don't worry about it. But don't fill your walls and corners of rooms with things that you don't actually like. Well, I hope these tips were helpful to you and inspired you to create a space that brings you rest in your bedroom. Once again, if it sounds interesting to you, I invite you to sign up for my free 5-day decluttering challenge where I teach you about my method called the Core 4, which is designed to help you set up your home so you can conquer overwhelming clutter for good. This is the system I used to get me through some of the most chaotic seasons of life and kept my home in order during all the chaos. So check out the link in the description and you can start that immediately. No credit card, all you need is your email address. All right, well, I love you. I will see you in the next video.